Good morning and welcome to a Monday morning here with me, Jenny McCormack. It is Monday the 16th of January. Goodness me, that's halfway through January already. It really doesn't feel like that's even possible, is it? Thank you so much for for joining us. I've got a tickle this morning. I do apologise. If this is the first time you've caught up with me, then good morning, afternoon or evening to you. If you're watching live, and that's here on Facebook, then good morning and welcome to you. My name's Jenny McCormack. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is near Silverstone, Formula 1 circuit, and northeast of Oxford, and that's in the UK. If you're watching on replay and have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to pop them in the comments section, and I will endeavour to answer those. I do try and keep an eye on things. Obviously, with the power of the internet, you can comment on anything that's on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, some of which go back a fair way. So apologies if I don't pick that up straight away. Morning, Carol, to you. So let's get cracking. A nice simple card today. This is for our coffee and card, and I run 2 coffee and card sessions at the moment per week. One is in Brackley and one is in Toaster. And it's an informal social card making session where we get together and have a nice cup of coffee or tea or hot chocolate and make 2 simple cards for you to take home as attendees. It's been really popular. I've been running coffee and card now for 7 years, possibly 8. I've sort of lost count. And it's a really good way of meeting new people, socialising and giving card making a go without committing maybe to a full class. So you can just come along for an hour, and then if you want to take it further, you can come along to one of my in-person classes. So this is our card for this week. As you can see, it features a dragonfly and this lovely watercolour effect behind. These are both from our annual catalogue. So this watercolour effect comes from this stamp set called Artistically Inked, and it features these really stunning images which look like ink and watercolour, or they can look like alcohol, with alcohol markers and inks, for example. And we're going to be using this one here. And then in terms of the dragonfly, I'm using them from Dragonfly Garden. This is also in our annual catalogue. And this has a matching punch that punches out this large dragonfly, either this one or this one. They're the same layout but slightly different design of wings and body. And it also punches out a smaller dragonfly that isn't in the stamp set, but you could use that and colour it and decorate it. Obviously there's extra items here. You can use this to colour in the dragonfly wings. Morning, Fran. Morning, Catherine. Or we're going to actually use Blend's alcohol markers to do that. Now, I can see on my phone that everything has stopped, so do let me know that it hasn't stopped, because it's just paused on my screen. Let me just go back out and in again, I'm really sorry, and see whether it comes back together. Oh yes, it is. Whew. Okay, so a nice simple design. I've got 2 pieces of card, so I'm going to show you 2 variations of this. And these are going to go on our note cards and envelopes. And I've chosen a Calypso Coral backing for one. And I haven't quite decided on the other one. This is, I've got Granny Apple Green and Parakeet Party, that's the one. So I haven't quite decided which backing I'm going to use, and then these are going to go onto note cards. The size of this is 3 inches by 4.5, and then the size of the backing layer is 3.25 by 4.75, and then the note cards and envelopes themselves, when they're folded, are 3.5 by 5 inches. So a perfect size for coffee and card. There's not too much of an area to fill, and they make a great card to send out. I've also added some Winker Stella when I've done the colouring of the dragonfly, which hopefully you can see. So let's get cracking. So I'm going to use this Artistically Inked stamp to start with, and let's do Calypso Coral to begin with. I guess just move that one out of the way. I'm just going to pop this piece of paper on here because I am going to go off the edges of my card, just making sure that is in the centre for you, give or take. So I'm going to ink up the stamp, and you can either take the ink pad to the stamp or the stamp to the ink pad. For this particular stamp it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to put one here on one side, and then you can either do the same again, or you can turn this over so that you've got this slightly darker piece in the middle. It's really up to you. So I hope everybody had a nice weekend. It's certainly very dull here this morning, and sort of forecast of, you know, showers and cold and snow later in the week. Okay, so there's that one with the ink going across, and I've just turned that one over. Just going to clean that and stamp the other one while I'm here. So just using my chamois to clean that off. Let's put that to one side. And then I'm going to use Parakeet Party. This time I'm going to put the ink on the top and the bottom. Bye, Nikki. Oh dear, we don't want that. Now you could put it this way. You could also do it in portrait. So I'm going to do that just for something different. Why not? So this is Parakeet Party. And I think this one would probably go across the whole thing in one. Yes, it does. It's just such an effective stamp. Great for backgrounds, filling in spaces, and obviously you can do a lot with this. And this has the lovely roses and leaves in this set as well. So it's amazing what a difference the same stamp can make when you stamp it in a different orientation. Hopefully you can see those. I'll lift those up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to stamp 2 dragonflies. So let's put those to one side. Clean my stamp off. Okay, so I've chosen one of the dragonflies, and I'm going to stamp it onto here. Now, one thing you just need to be a little bit aware of is this punches out 2 dragonflies. So if I'd stamped 1 dragonfly here and 1 here, what could happen is when I place this card in my punch, this dragonfly cuts out on top of the other one. So to avoid that happening, you could cut the paper in half and just do them individually, or you could stamp one that way and one that way, which is what I'm going to do. So the second dragonfly is effectively off the end of here. I'm going to stamp them in early espresso, of course. So just inking that up. Take my glasses off. And I'm going to put one here, like that. And you could stamp this in any dark colour. You could use grey. You could use the colour you're going to ink it up with. I'm hoping that's going to work. We'll see. Okay. Now you could also stamp multiple ones of these and layer them out. And another nice effect is if you take a piece of vellum and punch it and apply it on top. So I'm going to colour these first because it's easier to colour when it's on the card than it is when you've punched it out and got a smaller area to play with. So I'm going to do Calypso Coral for one, or combinations of that. So let's see what I've got. So I'm using my blends pens, but you could use watercolour pencils, you could use inks with an aqua painter if you were careful and used a waterproof ink to stamp with. So this is light. I'm just going to use dark in the centre, and really anything goes. I mean, obviously there's very distinctive dragonfly colours. Typically the wings are quite light, so I'm just taking a little bit of artistic license because I want this to coordinate with my papers. So that's my dark Calypso Coral, and then I'm just going to add the light. Like so. Now Diane, who was with us on Friday, did a fabulous job. She stamped her dragonflies in blue and then coloured them in blue, and they were very, very effective. So well done, Diane. And Diane's only been joining us for a short while, so it's lovely to see people build their confidence and go off and do their own variations. Okay, just going to put that in the body like so. So there's one, and this has got the wrong top on. That will confuse me completely. Okay, so there's one dragonfly, and we can use our Wink of Stella here. Just going to give it a good shake. So the contents of this, it's like sort of glitter and mica settle at the bottom. So what you want to do is give it a good shake before you use it. And I'm just going to put some on here. You can squeeze the barrel. It's got a little push sign here, just to make sure that the glitter is coming down the barrel. What you don't want to do is push it too hard that you flood your card. So I always do it on a spare piece of card to start with, and then add it on to our wings. And then I'll lift this up. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Sorry, I'm croaky today. Morning, Brenda. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're keeping well. And I did order, we've got a new card making kit that came out last week. There we go. And I ordered one and to show you, but I actually sold it on Friday, so I've had to order another one to show you. But it's a really nice card kit. It makes 9 cards and it's just £13. So when my replacement comes in, I will show it to you. Okay, so that's the Calypso Coral one that's going to go with that. And then I've got this one here. So I've got sort of Parakeet Party. It doesn't really have to be the same. Let's do a little balmy blue maybe. and a little bit of green. That's dark. Let's find a light. Or maybe blue and pink. Who knows? I hope you had a good weekend, Brenda. There we go. So, just brushing this out. So it's a really quick one to colour. You could even leave it plain. You could also stamp it if you had some very pale patterned paper. I think you could stamp it on that as well. Just going to spread this out and then maybe put a little bit Parakeet Party on the tips, like so, and then blend those in together. So really anything goes for your colours. Oranges, I mean dragonflies I tend to see around here in the summer are mostly blue-green, I would say. Excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. Oh, managed to avoid it. Okay, this is dark balmy blue. There we go. So just doing that in the centre, and then I'll use the light to connect the two. So, as I say, pure artistic license for my colouring of the dragonfly wings. Let's do the light one. And then I'll lift this up so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. There we are. Okay, let's add our Wink of Stella again. And when you buy a Wink of Stella to start with, it has a black ring around the barrel. And what you want to do is unscrew this, remove the ring, and then place it back again. And that will break the seal for the mica and the glitter at the bottom. Okay, so if you're shaking it and pressing it and nothing's happening, it may be that you haven't removed the black seal. There we go. And you can put some on the body as well if you wish. So what I like about this is this is quite a clear glitter. So this is a clear one. We used to sell a gold one and I think a silver one as well. But I like this. It's just subtle enough. You can apply it to anything really. So let me lift this up. Hopefully you're going to be able to see that. Let me put the glasses back on. Da, da, da. So I can see what you can see. Yeah, hopefully you can see a little bit of that sparkle on those wings. On the basis there's not actually any sun here. Okay, so let's pop this one in. I think it's going to be okay, but what I'm actually going to do is just cut through here. Like so. Okay. So just positioning this centrally, you could I'm just going to use I was going to use some scissors, but I can't see any right in front of me now. Just to position that a little bit better. I think that will do fine. So there's one. And then the other one. So just give it time, position it correctly, keep it level, and then if you just pinch it slightly before you punch, that will hold it in place and you can see that you've got it lined up. There we go. So there's our 2 dragonflies. And obviously for the card you could do more. You're not restricted to one by any means. So let's have a look at how this card is going to go. So I've got my Calypso coral band going across the middle that I stamped. And if you weren't here at the beginning, this was the stamp I used from Artistically Inked. And then I've got my dragonfly, which I'm going to bend the wings of in a minute. And he can go here or here. And then you can stamp your sentiment across there. So I'm going to do that one as a happy birthday. Well, they might both be happy birthdays. Or maybe that and a thanks. And then this one, I've done my stamping top and bottom. And so I could put my dragonfly here with a bigger message. You could turn it this way as well. So there's so many variations. And what I would do is I would choose the layout depending on the sentiment that I was going to use. Okay, so let's do this one first. I've got a happy birthday at the ready. I'm going to stamp that in early espresso. Let's do that. Really must find my other early espresso ink pad. Okay. So just take your time, good gentle pressure, even pressure, that's the key thing. There we go. So let's layer this up. And then we can of course add some additional bling to that with some embellishments. And we do actually have some dragonfly trinkets. So if I can find them, I will add one of those on as well, so you get to see that. So just getting my note card and envelope out ready. Hi Via, yes, we're in the UK. You probably gathered from my accent, I would think. Do let us know where you are in the world. Okay, so that's going to go onto there with some glue. Like so. There we are. And then I've got my little dragonfly with his coated wings, or her coated wings, and I'm just going to use my bone folder to bend those wings up. It is clean, it's just stained, in case you're wondering, so that I can pop my dragonfly onto there. And I'm just going to use wet glue down the centre. So and that way the wings will stay lifted up. Okay, if I put this one next to it, this is the flat one, and you can see the difference. It really brings this to life, and if you use a bone folder against the wings, that helps to break the fibres in the card obviously it's going to flatten to an extent in the envelope. Okay, so there's that, and let me find the dragonfly embellishments so you can see them. Okay. So these come in a little pack of 20, I believe, if you can see that. So they're really pretty, they're nice and flat, so they don't take up a huge amount of space. Hi Kerry, hi Carol. So we could put this one on here, for example. And you could use a glue dot or just a little bit of glue on the backing of here. I'm just going to use a little bit of wet glue, like so. Pop that down there. Now you need to give that a little time to dry and set. So by the time I've done the other card, that will be ready to go. So don't fiddle with it, just place it down with the glue and then allow that to set. So that's the first one. And you could stamp the dragonflies on the inside. On the stamp set there are also these little dragonflies. So you could pop those on the inside and you could pop those on the envelope, of course. So let's just do that really quickly. You could also stamp the watercolour effect. There we go. So Carol and Kerry and Brenda, hope you had a good weekend. So just going to stamp these on the inside in that corner there. There we go. So that's one finished. I'll just lift that up for you to see it. And then let's finish this other one. So this one I'm going to have my, I'm going to do this in portrait just for a change. Oh, very sensible, Carol. It was dry here. It was dry here yesterday. I don't remember much about. I think it was dry here on Saturday as well. Oh, oh, bless you, Kerry. I wish I'd known it was your birthday. Sorry. Right, let's stamp a sentiment on here, and I think I'm going to use this. Either this thanks or this hello. I'm going for the thanks. It's a little bit bigger than I would. So perhaps I will swap that. So it's a little bit bigger than I would use. So let's go for that. I do like the thanks, and there's some of these little dots as well that you could dot around. They go. You can use these for the centres of the flowers. These flowers are stunning. If you've not seen those stamped, let me know and I'll stamp them for you. So let's pop this sentiment on. So it just says hello. Let's try and get it fairly straight. It would be good. And again, I'm using Early Espresso. Like so. How straight that is. Might get away with it. Okay, so the same treatment, just putting glue along the centre of the dragonfly's body, and not too much, you don't want it to squeeze out. Oh, you've not seen it? Oh, well, I'll stamp them briefly for you, Brenda, because they really are stunning. Okay, so there's our dragonfly on there. And then I've just got to decide, that's too similar, like that, or I could use a blue backing, but I know I've got plenty of Granny Apple Green, so I will just use that one. Watching the time, oh, perfect timing. So you pop this onto a note card. And layer these up. So glue on the reverse, not too thick, but a sensible coating, and not too near the edge. Again, you don't want it to squish out. And ours is very strong glue. It's not like school glue, where you've got to apply so much for it actually to do anything. Okay, so there we go. There's our layer. Make sure I've got my card opening the right way. I know we've all done that. Put it on the wrong way, or the wrong side of the card, or whatever. Upside down, like so. And I might just, no I'm not, I'm going to leave it as is. I'm just going to stamp another dragonfly on the inside for this one. In early espresso. And then I'll just stamp, for anybody who hasn't seen the other elements stamped out, I'll stamp those for you to see. So that's going that way, so let's have one, whew, nearly dropped it, coming in from this corner. There we go. And that's it. Okay, so that was our first one. And I added the little dragonfly trinket to that. The dragonfly trinkets are in our January to April catalogue, and then this one I've just left as is. So those are the cards for this afternoon's coffee and card. Let me just grab a piece of card. And I'll just show anybody who would like to see. Obviously, if you've seen this before, then that's fine. Do carry on, but I just want to stamp the flowers to show you this detail here. So I'll use Calypso Coral, as that's out and ready. Thank you, Carol. Just simple cards for coffee and card. Nothing nothing I have to think about on a Monday morning. How about that? Okay, so this is that gorgeous rose. If I lift that up, hopefully you can see that. All of that detail is built into the stamp. It's a single stamp. Let me add some leaves, because they are equally as beautiful. And I'll just do them in Parakeet Party. Let's see if I can tuck these in for you. Take my glasses off though. moving that piece out of the way so I don't get a ridge where I'm stamping. There you go. How beautiful are they? And then we've got just a little leaf and some other little, there's a little rose and some other little flowers as well. Let me just stamp those. Hi Nicole, good morning to you. Yes, the detail, because it's one of those distinctive stamps, all of the detail is built into the stamp itself. It's very, very clever. Just stamp this together. Like that. And then there's a small leaf that you can do. So this is Artistically Inked. If you've not come across it before, it's in our annual catalogue. There we go. And then let's just stamp that large one again for anybody who missed that right from the beginning. Like so. And it just looks like you've been really clever with your painting, so you can just build this up and do this as a complete background if you wish. And then you could punch out of this or just create it as a background. And because it's sort of yeah, it's got a watercolour look, you can literally just stamp it any which way. Thank you, Nicole. So that's the background there. Great for edges. So that's just showing you the stamps from Artistically Inked, for anybody who hadn't seen it. And it's got these little dots as well, which is always useful. Oh, and I haven't done this one. Just do that one really quickly. And we're done. I could do with it. Oh no, that would do. And I'll do that in Calypso. So you can see that detail. There you go. Okay, so that's Artistically Inked. So thank you so much for joining us. That was just an impromptu element of the stamp set, but this is what we've just created, these two here, and this is what we're doing at Coffee and Card this afternoon in Toaster, and that we did on Friday in Brackley. So that's those there, and I'll be back tomorrow. And I will be back in the morning tomorrow because we've got a team meeting online in the evening. Just thinking of making sure I haven't got anything else in the morning. I don't think I have. So I'll be online here tomorrow at 10 AM. I will put a reminder out either late this evening or first thing in the morning. But I hope you like our finished cards. For those of you that are at Coffee and Card this afternoon, I look forward to seeing you. Thank you for your support, your thumbs up and your hearts, always appreciated. And do take care. If you haven't received your catalogue from me and you're a customer of mine, or you're based in the UK and don't have another demonstrator, then just message me and I'll pop a catalogue in the post to you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Fran, Kerry, Brenda, Nicole, Carol, if you're still here. Catherine, Via, hopefully I've got everybody, and anybody else who was watching that didn't say hi, thank you to you as well. And you'll be able to catch this on YouTube later. If you want to share it with anybody, please feel free. and I look forward to catching up with you soon. Take care, happy crafting, bye for now.